All right, so today, guys, I got something very special for you. So I'm going to show you guys our exact cold DM scaling process, right? This is the exact video that we have in our course that we teach our students with. I'm going to give you this one snippet completely for free so you can see exactly how we set everything up, how to set everything up for yourself so you can scale and grow. So without further ado, I'm going to hop in. I'm going to show you exactly how to scale your cold DMs and to fill your calendar. Hey everyone, Zachary Labre here, and in this video, we're going to talk about scaling your cold DM system. So now that Pedro kind of walked through exactly how to run your cold DM system, it's time to learn how to scale it and send thousands of DMs and completely fill your calendar with systems in place. Let's just hop right into it. All right, so let's talk about scaling your cold DM system. So your cold DM system, just like any other cold outreach system, thrives on volume, right? The more DMs you could send out, the more likely you'll get a response, and then the more likely you'll be able to book calls through this system. But the main issue with the cold IG DM system is that Instagram has put a bunch of barriers in place to stop profiles from sending out too many outreaches, right? So they want to make sure there aren't as many scammers or spammers, which is good. But for us as marketers, it becomes increasingly difficult to actually scale and grow our businesses. So we have developed the scaling system to completely compartmentalize our outreach so that Instagram has basically no idea that we're sending thousands of DMs per day. We want to be able to fly under the radar, and this system does exactly that. So let's walk through the basic principles of scaling your cold DM system, right? Now, to start off, on Instagram, each IG account has a limit on how many cold outreaches they could send. So there's a limit to how many random people you can message on IG. It's just how it is, right? It varies between 50 to 100 cold DMs per day per account, depending on how long the account has existed, how often you post, and a bunch of other factors, right? So it depends. There's so many factors that go into it, but basically 50 to 100 is a number you're going to see on the average account. And that's definitely not going to be enough to grow our business fast enough, right? Because just sending 50 to 100 a day is not going to cut it. So the only way for us to increase the amount of DMs you can send is to have more Instagram accounts. That's the only way. Now, you can buy Instagram accounts and use those accounts to send out your cold DMs. And that's exactly what we do. So we just have multiple accounts that we send our DMs through, and it makes it super simple. And this is the process of scaling your cold outreach DM system with these 4 pillars. The first thing is you must buy or build a brand new Instagram account. Then you must optimize your account to make it trustworthy. Then you must warm up your account so that it complies with the Instagram algorithm. And then slowly start sending out cold DMs with either an AI system or appointment setters. Now, I've created a diagram to help you visualize exactly how this works. Let me just hop into that diagram and show you exactly what we do. Awesome. So this is exactly what the diagram looks like. So basically every single one of these little boxes here are a different Instagram profile. So you can see we have 5 different profiles here. And what we need to do is we need to have each profile separate from each other, but basically they're a copy and paste. So you can see here that this right here in the middle is the main profile, right? In the main profile here, we have, of course, the title, description, the profile. We have highlights here. We have posts that people can scroll and look through your posts. So what we want to do is we want to have 5 profiles that look just like this, and they're all connected into one unified inbox because you want to make sure that all the messages that you send can easily be managed in one place. If you have 5 different accounts and you have 5 different places to respond to people, it just becomes a huge headache, right? So you can see all these arrows point to the unified inbox. Now, we have something called a proxy, which is a system that lets you go and use other IP addresses when you log into Google Chrome or any website browser. The reason why we have proxies is because we want to make sure that none of the actual Instagram accounts that we go through are connected in any way. Because if there's a connection, let's say one Instagram account is connected to another Instagram account, if they get banned, you're risking every single account you have. So we have to go through a proxy, which is basically just a VPN that lets you completely separate every single Instagram account from each other. But they're basically all a copy and paste. Then after that, they each send 20 to 50 DMs per day per account, right? You don't want to send more than that because even though you technically can send about 100 DMs per account, it's just not worth the risk. Sometimes you could get banned, you could, get restricted. It's just not worth the risk. So I'd say up to 50 at most, but that's exactly what you want. So you just want to copy and paste over and over and over again, and each one will turn into its own outreach system. So let's walk through the most important principle that we need to have when it comes to Instagram cold DM outreach, right? So like I said before we get into the basic principle, there's one principle that we must understand, or else you can risk all of your accounts getting banned. You must make sure that all of your Instagram accounts are logged in through a mobile proxy, right? Like the proxies I showed you in the diagram. So like I said, a proxy is basically a completely different internet browser that has a different IP address. Now, having a different proxy is important because if one of your accounts gets banned, IG could also ban your entire IP address, and all of the accounts under that IP address can get banned. So every time you get a new account, you must only log into it from a mobile proxy. Please do not log into an account on the same phone. If you do that, it's highly risky and they probably will ban you, honestly. So we buy all of our proxies from a website called Decodo.com. It's a place where you can buy all the proxies to make sure that every single Instagram account is separate. Now, we'll walk you through buying proxies in the next module. I'll walk you through exactly how to set things up, but basically we want to make sure that everything is disconnected so you have every single account that's safe and ready to go, right? So everything that you do from here on in this module must be from your desktop or your PC through your proxy. Do not do any of this stuff on your phone. I highly recommend to not do that. Now, the first step is to buy or build a brand new Instagram account. So when you need a new IG account, you can either buy one or build one from scratch. Now, we highly recommend to buy a new one because the ones you can buy are usually already pre-warmed and they already have existed for years, which means they're much more trusted by Instagram. This means you won't have to wait so long to start doing outreach, and that speeds up the whole process. So if you make a completely fresh, brand new account on your own email, the problem is that specific account, you'll need to warm it up a lot longer, and Instagram doesn't trust that account, right? Because it just happened. However, if the account existed for years on end, Instagram is much more trusting of that account. Now, there's one issue when it comes to buying accounts that from a third party, and that's that usually these accounts are from third world countries like India and Pakistan. So sometimes you can have a risk of being banned, right? Sometimes if you log in too quickly from a different country and it sees that it's based in India or Pakistan, it can ban your account. So you want to make sure these proxies are in place. You want to make sure that you do things very, very smoothly so that it doesn't look like it's being ran by a scammer, right? So that's basically how we do it. So how we do this is we go to a website called bulkaccountsbuy.com. This website, you can basically buy tons of different accounts for Instagram, even LinkedIn, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. Now, I know this website looks a little sketchy, I'll be honest, but don't worry, we have bought tons of accounts from them before, so there's no worry. Now, we also recommend to use PayPal to send over the payments just for an extra layer of security, just to make sure that you're good, right? Now, for the type of accounts to buy, we recommend to buy aged accounts that already have followers. Now, we recommend this because when you start sending out DMs, your follower count does not affect your response rate. Now, if you want to save money, you can buy aged accounts without any followers, and you can buy followers from a different website called igmorefollowers.com. Now, I know these followers may be fake, and I know they are, but the thing is, it just works, right? When people go to your account and they see your follower number, they just trust you more. It's really just a branding thing, honestly. Now, I highly recommend to not buy followers on your main account because it's going to do nothing for you, and it could cause some issues on your main account. But for your proxy accounts that you're trying to run and trying to scale, definitely buy about 1,000 followers just to make it look more substantial. You can also use this website if you want to start a completely fresh IG account. So let's say you want to start one, like I said, from your own email. You can just come here to IG More Followers and buy followers on it and be ready to go. Okay, so now that you have the accounts ready to go, you must make sure the accounts actually look trustworthy. Now, the first thing that people are going to do when they DM you is to go to your page, right? When you DM somebody, they're going to look at your page and see, who is this guy? Can I trust him? Whatever. And if your page looks like trash with 5 followers, no posts, and a terrible description, then you will never get a response, right? So you need to do these things to add credibility to your account. So 1, you need to post regularly, at least 3 times a week on Instagram at the very least. Number 2, you must have at least 1,000 followers on your account, which if you don't have it, like I said, you can just buy them. Number three is you need to have at least a 2-to-1 follower ratio. So you have to have at least twice the amount of followers than you're following. So let's say you have about 2,000 followers. You should not have more than 1,000 people you're following, if that makes sense. Now, that's going to happen sometimes. Usually when you buy accounts, they're going to have a bunch of people that they're following. So you're going to have like 1,000 followers and like 6,000 people are following. That looks very fishy. I would say you always want to make sure your follower count is higher than the amount of people you're following. The next step is to have the highlights optimized. So the highlights are the actual little circles that you put under your Instagram description that just explain all the things that you do in your business, right? And next is you have to have an optimized bio, and then you also have to have a good, trustworthy Instagram profile picture. So make sure your picture shows your face, it shows you smiling, it's professional, looks good. And also, at the end, you must be meta verified, right? Now, we highly recommend to be meta verified. Now, meta verification does cost about maybe $15 a month, but it's definitely worth it. Now, let me show you exactly what our Instagram looks like. I'm going to show you our regular Instagram page and then also the page that we use to do outreach on. All right, so you guys can see this is our Instagram page. We have about 900 followers, and we're posting a lot, right? We're posting about 20 times a day, but basically the point is you want to have something like this, right? Where you have a little meta verification badge here. You basically just say who you help, right? You say the results that you've gotten and just give them a call to action, which our call to action is to book a call with us. Now, as we scroll down here, we have these things here called highlights, which just show different highlights about our business, right? Like our YouTube channel, testimonials that we have. People can book a call here and just reviews that we have for our business. And you can see here that we have a bunch of tiles here, just explaining more about what we do, our offer, our story, things like that, right? So that's basically what we have there. And as we keep scrolling here, you just want to have a lot of content, right? You want to have at least 12 posts before you start sending out information or sending out DMs, because if you don't have at least 12 posts, people won't be able to scroll enough to kind of see if you're legitimate or not, and it just seems a little sketchy. So I say have 12 posts that are ready to go, right? So this is our main account. Now I'm going to show you our proxy account that we send our DMs through. It's right here. So it's called Pedro and Zach Life. So you can see here that it's very similar. We just switched the name a little bit. So instead of saying Pedro and Zach Life, you can see here we have about 2,000 followers, and these followers, of course, are fake. They're not real, but it looks very trustworthy. We have the little meta verification badge here. We have similar highlights here as the one before. You can see as we scroll here, very similar to the same thing. We don't have the same exact tiles, but still we're posting every single day on this as well. So basically we're just making sure that this collaborates with this. So this both look trustworthy. Right now, these both look very trustworthy, and I guarantee that if you see something like this, even though this is a proxy account, it looks trustworthy enough to go and actually send out some DMs. So that's exactly what you want to do. All right, so basically, like I said, your goal is to make sure your extra accounts look almost identical to your main account so that the trust is verified and guaranteed, right? Now, the next step is to warm up your account so that it complies with the Instagram algorithm. So once your IG account is optimized, you must start warming it up for at least 1 week, right? For 1 week, you just don't send any DMs. Just make sure that you're warming it up, right? And these steps are how to actually do that. So first, you follow accounts in your space. So let's say you're doing an agency. You want to follow agency accounts and people kind of in like the same space, high ticket sales, that kind of online business stuff. The next step is to like photos and videos organically. So you want to make sure that you see some photos and videos that you like. Just click and like them, just make sure you act like a real human, And then basically you also want to comment on other people's posts in your space, right? Now, don't overdo this and just follow and like every single thing you see, because nobody does that, right? You want to make sure it seems natural, right? You can go click on a couple things and just basically make sure it looks natural, right? Just don't touch it for about a week. Make sure you don't send anything out, right? Now, note, like I said, make sure you're warming up your accounts through your PC or desktop. Do not warm up your accounts through your phone, because we want to compartmentalize your accounts, right? If you log in to your side accounts on the same device as your main account, you could risk multiple accounts getting banned. And I know I said this before, but it's really important that you guys understand this, because I don't want you guys losing your main account and having to start from scratch, right? So it's very important to not do that, right? So the next step is to slowly start sending out cold DMs with an AI system or appointment setters. Now, the final step is to actually start sending out the cold DMs. Now, there are 3 paths we can take to send these out. We can do it ourselves, right? We can either use software or hire appointment setters. Now, the method you use will depend on your situation. Now, if you have absolutely no money to spend, then you will have to start sending them out yourself. However, we highly recommend to not do this because it's time consuming. Sending DMs all day really is very time consuming, and you could spend that time doing other things. And sending out things using systems or AI isn't that expensive, right? So we highly recommend, if you can, just spend some money on some software. Software isn't too expensive. It should cost you anywhere between $50 a month, even sometimes always to $100 a month, but still worth it because you won't have to spend all the time doing it yourself. Now, like I said, you could also do software to send out your DMs. Now, here's some examples of cold DM softwares that work well. IGDM Pro is the one we use, and that's very, very good. Cold DMs is good as well, and Cold DMs Pro is good as well. Now, we use IGDM Pro because it's the cheapest one. This one costs like $9 a month. It's insanely cheap, and it works very well. So, guys, definitely recommend to use IGDM Pro. Now, you can also hire an appointment setter to send out all of your DMs, which will definitely get you the best results, right? Now, a human is always going to defeat an AI, right? AI is not where it needs to be right now, but a human will always be better because they can rationally think and they can, objection handle, right? But they are expensive in the beginning. So in the later modules, we'll walk you through exactly how you can structure outreach systems to manage your messages, analyze how to scale, and how to basically make sure this system has a balance between, of course, input and output, right? So that's basically exactly what we want to do.